Hello students, welcome to my channel Science Learning Gateway. I hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to continue with the same chapter of class 10th science, that is chapter number 9. The name of the chapter is Heredity and Evolution. I have already uploaded the this chapter first part, that is part 1, in which I have covered the heredity topic, and today we are going to discuss evolution. This will be the part 2 of this chapter, and in this tutorial I will be going to discuss evolution and we will learn about evolution. Okay, so the students who are from CBSE board, those who are going to write their board exam in the year 2021, for them the video of that heredity, that is the part 1 of this chapter, will be helpful for them, because from that section only question will be asked for them. But for the other state board students, you have to read the complete chapter, as the syllabus is not reduced yet, so you have to read the complete chapter. So I have uploaded the full chapter. Whether you are from CBSE or from any other board, you can go through the chapter, and if you have any doubt, you can comment in the comment section so that I can clear your doubt. Okay, so let's move and start our chapter towards evolution. Today we are going to discuss evolution. So before starting guys, I have a small request from you all. If you are really liking my tutorial and work, then please like, share and subscribe my channel. If you are new in my channel and if you are watching this video first time, then please subscribe it for the latest updates, and this will motivate me to create more helpful content for you all. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to get the notification of the latest video. Whenever I will be uploading a new video, you'll get the notification for that. Okay, so now we'll start with our chapter. Okay, so today we'll start with evolution. As you all know that in the first section in heredity, we have read that what is heredity. Heredity is a process in which characters are transferred from the parents to their offspring or to their children. So next section is our evolution. What is evolution? That we will discuss now. So first of all, let's read the definition of evolution. Evolution is a sequence of gradual changes which take place in a primitive organism over million of years, in which new species are produced. Means evolution is what? It is a series of gradual changes which will take place in organisms, and this will take place, these changes will take a long time to evolve, to take place in an organism. Means that changes will take a long time to come in organism, and the new species will be produced. We can understand this through an example. Suppose we have some organism in this one. So this is our generation 1, next will be our generation 2, and next will be our generation 3. Like this, many generations will come, and at last we'll get a generation number 1000. Suppose this is the last generation. So some changes will be there from generation 1 to generation 2. Some changes will take place in this one, and the generation 2, the organisms which are produced, they will adapt those changes, they will accept those changes. After that, again some changes will come, and these changes can be seen in generation 3. And after that, again some changes will come, and those changes will be seen in the last generation, that is in the 1000 generation. So from here to here we have so many changes. Means these are small changes, but this change is a large change, and it is taking place in a long period of time, and this is what we called evolution. It is a series of changes which occurs in an organism over million of years. Means it takes a long time to occur this one, in which new species are produced. The species which will be produced in the last generation, they will have all those changes from G1 to G1000. So this is all about evolution. In the first section, that is in part 1, we have also read about variation. So what was variation? Variation means differences. In general term, we can understand that variation means differences. When we have read that chapter, how do organisms reproduce? In that we have two modes of reproduction, sexual and asexual. We have seen that in asexual reproduction, variation is less. But in sexual reproduction, where two parents are involved, more variation is there. Means the organisms which will be produced from the parents will be little different. Means for example, we are also little different from our parents. We are not exact copy of our parents. Some variation is there. For example, our brother and sister are also little different from us. So this is called variation, differences. Okay, so is the differences good for the environment or bad? It has some advantage and it is good for the environment. It depends on the variation. For example, the bacteria, there are a number of bacteria in the environment. Some of the bacteria can withstand high temperature, but some of the bacteria cannot survive in the high temperature. The bacteria which can survive in the high temperature, they will only be alive, but the bacteria which cannot withstand at high temperature, they will die. This is because of variation, that some bacteria can survive and some bacteria cannot survive. So overall variation is good for the environment and it gives the survival advantage. More the variation, more the chances of survival will be there. So one line you have to remember in this one, that if the variation is more, survival, the chances of survival is also more. Now we'll continue with our chapter. Again, we have one illustration in this one example. Through this example, we'll understand evolution in a more enlarged form. Okay, so in this you can see 12 beetles, 12 red beetles are there. Okay, in this diagram 12 red beetles are there. In this we have compared three situations. This is situation number 1, this is situation number 2, and the last one is situation number 3. In the first situation, you can see one green beetle can be seen over there. Okay, in situation 2, one blue beetle can be seen, and in the third situation, all the beetles were of red color. So one by one we will compare all the three situations in the next section, in the next page. Okay, so first of all, you have to remember that 12 red beetles were present over there. Okay, now the first will continue with the first situation. Okay, group of red and green beetles. The first situation is group of red and green beetles. In the first diagram, we have seen that 12 red beetles were there, but in this, when we are comparing situation 1, in this one green beetle can be seen. So from where this green beetle came? Because of color variation which arises during reproduction, this green beetle came. Okay, after that what will happen? This green beetle will increase its number by the process of reproduction, and it will pass its green color to its progeny. Means it will pass its green color to its children, and after that its number will be increased. In the second diagram you can see more green beetles can be seen over there, but the number of red beetles has decreased. How the number of red beetles has decreased? Because the cows can easily see these red beetles on the green bushes or on the green leaves, but the green beetles can hide themselves in the green leaves of the bushes. So green beetles can get the survival advantage, but the red beetles will be eaten by the crow. In the third diagram you can see more number of green beetles can be seen, and the number of red beetles has decreased in this one. And in the last diagram only green beetles are there, no red beetles are there, because all the red beetles were eaten by the crow, and green beetles survived because they can hide themselves in the green leaves of the bushes. So now let's see once again what is written over there. In the first situation, a color variation arises during reproduction, so that there is one green beetle. One green beetle came because of color variation. This beetle will pass the color on its two progeny, so that its progeny beetles are also green. After that what will happen? When this green beetle will reproduce, it will pass this color to its progeny. Means more number of green beetles can be seen. Crows will eat the red beetles, so the number of red beetles will reduce. After that what will happen? On the green bushes the crows can see the red beetles, so number of red beetles will decrease. Crows will not eat the green beetles. Why they will not eat the green beetles? Because they can hide themselves in the green leaves of the bushes. So the population of green beetles will keep on increasing. At last you can see only green beetles were survived. So what conclusion we can draw from this situation? As the number of green beetles increases, they got the survival advantage, or they were naturally selected as they were not visible in the green bushes. Okay, as the number of green beetles, till third stage we can see the number of green beetles are increasing. So where they were naturally selected by the environment, because the crow cannot see them in the green bushes, so they survived and their numbers also increase. So this is because of natural selection. Next we have situation number 2, that is group of red and blue beetle. In this diagram, second diagram, you can see one blue beetle is there. So from where do this blue beetle came? This also came from the color variation which occurs during reproduction. After that what will happen? The blue beetle will also pass its color to the progeny, to the offspring, and the number of blue beetles will increase, and but the number of red beetles will increase more in that case. Okay, after that what will happen? One elephant will come and stamp his foot on the beetles. So after that what will happen? This is a kind of accident. So after that what will happen? The number of red beetles will decrease, and only few of the blue beetles were there. They will only survive and they will increase their population. So in the last stage we see that the number of blue beetles are increasing in this case. So now we'll discuss this situation number 2. In second situation, a color variation occurs during reproduction, which results in one blue color beetle which can pass its color to the progeny, so that all its progeny betals are blue. Crows can see both red and blue betals. Yes, it is possible that crow will see both red and blue betals on the leaves and eat them. The number of betals will reduce, but still what happens? The number of red betals were more. You can see in that diagram, but suddenly one elephant will come and stamp his foot on the betals. The betals will be killed. After that, what will happen? The betals which were left were of blue color. So blue color betals population will increase and they will survive. So what conclusion we can draw from this one? Blue betals did not get survival advantage. Elephants suddenly caused major havoc in the betel population, otherwise their number would be large. From this, we can conclude that accident can change the frequency of some gene even if they are not getting survival advantage. This is called genetic drift and it leads to variation. What happens? The crow can eat both red and blue betals, but both of them are not getting survival advantage. Blue betel is also not getting survival advantage over that. The population of blue betel cannot increase in that case. But suddenly what happened? Due to some accident, because of that elephant, red betals were killed and the blue betals, few blue betals were left. They have increased their population and they survived in that environment. This is called genetic drift and it also leads to variation. Genetic drift means some changes will occur in the frequency of genes. Some changes will occur in the frequency of gene and they will get the advantage of survival. So this is called genetic drift. And in the third situation, what happens? Third situation, the group of red betals and the bushes can be seen. No green or blue betals can be seen in the third situation. Only red betals and the bushes can be seen in the third situation. Now we'll discuss the third situation. In the third situation, what happens? As the betel population increases, the bushes start suffering from a plant disease. The number of betals will increase, their population will increase. But suddenly the bushes get infected because of a plant disease. So now the betals will not get proper food to eat. The leaves are already infected with a plant disease. So betals will not get food to eat. So after that, what will happen? The weight of the betals will decrease. And after few years, what happens? The plant disease will get eliminated, means the plant will again become healthy plants, and after that again the betals will get the food to eat and their numbers will also increase and their weight will also increase again. So what conclusion we can draw from this? No genetic change has occurred in the population of betals. The population gets affected for a short duration only due to environmental change. In this one, natural selection is also not there, neither genetic drift nor genetic change is there. So why the betals has increased their population? Because of environmental change. First, the plants are getting infected because of the disease, but after that, what happened? Suddenly after few years, they were getting healthy, the betals are getting the proper food to eat, and again their population increasing because of environmental change. Okay, so this was all about the illustration given in your textbook. Now we'll discuss about traits. What are traits? Traits are the characters which are passed on from the parents to their offspring. For example, eye color, skin tone, height of a person, etc. are the traits and the characters which are passed from the parents to the children. So there are two types of traits, acquired traits and inherited traits. Acquired traits are those traits which an organism or individual develops in its lifetime. For example, learning power, muscles, etc. Okay, these cannot be transferred to their children or to their offspring. For example, your mother is good in music. It is not necessary that you will also be good in music, because she has learned that music in her lifetime. In her time she has learned that music, she has acquired that knowledge. So it is not possible that she will give that knowledge to you also. Okay, like that, if your father is having good muscles, it is not that you will also have good muscles. He has acquired that good muscle in his lifetime, so it will not be transferred to you. But the next trait, that is inherited trait, what happens? That the inherited means the traits which we get from the parents. For example, eye color, skin color, etc. These are passed from the parents to their offspring. Now we'll discuss the differences between acquired traits and inherited traits. This is a very important section. Questions are asked from them. Write the differences between inherited and acquired traits. The first point is, these traits are developed in an individual due to special conditions. So these traits are developed during the lifetime because of some special condition. These traits are passed from one generation to the next generation, means these will be passed from the parents to their children. They cannot be transferred to the progeny, means this cannot be transferred to the children. Progeny means what? Next generation. No, they are transferred to the progeny. Third point, they cannot direct evolution, means they were not helpful in evolution. They are helpful in evolution. Example of acquired trait: They cannot direct evolution. Example, low weight of starving beetles, and in this one, color of eyes and hairs. Example of acquired traits, you can write developing muscles, knowledge, and in this one you can write eye color and skin color. The muscles cannot be transferred to the children or the offspring. Okay, write that knowledge or any learning capabilities cannot be transferred to the children. Like that, in inherited traits. Inherited means what we inherit from the parents. Like eye color we can take from our parents, skin color can also be same. So these are the differences between the acquired traits and the inherited traits. I hope you all have understood the differences between acquired and inherited traits. Now we'll move towards the next section, that is speciation. From this word speciation, little bit it sounds like species, right? So speciation means what? Development of new species, means production of new species is called speciation. So what is the definition of speciation? The process by which new species develop from the existing species is known as speciation. Means new species will develop from the existing species. Existing means the old species is called speciation. The very easy definition of speciation is this one. The process by which new species will develop from the existing species is called speciation. How speciation will take place? Speciation will take place when variation is combined with geographical isolation. Okay, like this means how new species will be formed when variation means differences, when differences will combine with geographical isolation. So this can take place through these methods. The first one is gene flow. So what is gene flow? Let's understand this. It is exchange of genetic material by interbreeding between population of same species or individuals. Means when interbreeding is done, means when the male and the female partner will interbreed among themselves, what will happen? Genetic material will be exchanged, and it should be between the same species or the individual. That time speciation can be done, that time species can be produced. Okay, like for example in human beings you can see that genetic drift means it is a random change in the frequency of alleles, gene pair. Alleles means what? Gene pairs. Okay, in a population where successive generation, means some changes will occur in the frequency of alleles. In that case also new species will be formed. It takes place due to severe change in the DNA. Some changes can occur in the DNA. Changes in number of chromosome can also lead to genetic drift. Next one is natural selection. As we have seen in the case of beetles, the process by which nature selects and consolidate those organisms which are more suitably adapted and possess favorable variation. Natural selection means in this the nature will select the organism to survive in the future. Like that we have seen in the section of dead beetles. In that the green population has increased their number and they have survived. That was selected by the nature. So this is called natural selection. And the last one, geographical isolation. It is caused by mountain ranges, rivers, etc. Geographical isolation leads to reproductive isolation, due to which there is no flow of genes between the separate groups of population. For example, one big forest is there. In between we have one river. Okay, suppose we have river. In this side some populations are there, in this side some population are there. It is not possible that this population will go that side and this population will go that side. It is not possible in that case. So in geographical isolation, what it is means that it is caused by mountain ranges, river, etc. Suppose this is because of river. It leads to reproductive isolation, due to which there is no flow of genes between the separate group of these. Means genes will not flow from here and genes will not flow from here. Over here the organisms which are produced, they will reproduce among themselves, and over here those organisms will produce, they will reproduce among themselves. So this is called geographical isolation. So this was all about your speciation and how it will take place. Next is evolution and classification. How evolution and classification are interlinked, that we will study in this section. Both evolution and classification are interlinked. First point is classification of species is reflection of their evolutionary relationship. Means classification is related to the evolution. If we will classify any species, it will reflect its evolutionary relationship. Means from where it has evolved, what is their ancestor background. That thing we can understand by that. The more characteristic two species have in common, the more closely related. Suppose two species we are taking. If they have some common characteristics, we can say that they are closely related to each other. Means they have evolved from the same origin. Next one, the more closely they are related, the more recently they have common ancestor. If they are closely related to each other, then what we can say? They have they must have some common ancestor, means from the same origin they have evolved. And the last one is similarities among organisms allow us to group them together and to study their characters. If the organisms have common similarities, common characteristics, then we can make one group for them. The organisms which are having common similarities, we can group in one group. The organism which are having different similarities, means but 4 5 organisms are there, then we can, suppose we have group number 1, group number 2. The organisms which have same characteristics we can put in group number 1. The organisms which have different characteristic but they are over there, then we can put in group number 2. So it will make our study easy also, and we can study their characteristics also. So this was all about evolution and classification. Our next topic is tracing evolutionary relationship, means how we can take the how we can trace the evolutionary relationship among the organism. So this is, in this topic we'll read about how we can trace evolutionary relationship. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck gave the first theory of evolution. The accepted one is The Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. So he was a scientist, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. He was the first scientist to give the first theory of evolution. But the theory of Charles Darwin's was accepted, and this was given by The Origin of Species, and it was given by Charles Darwin. So evidence of evolution. In this we'll read about 3 topics: homologous organs, analogous organs, and about fossils. Homologous organs and analogous organs are very important. Generally questions are asked from this section. Write the differences between homologous and analogous organs, or you can get an individual question also, like what are homologous organs, give example, what are analogous organs, give example. First we'll start with homologous organs. Homo means what? Same. Homo means same. So what are homologous organs? The organs which have same basic structural plan and origin, means these organs have same structural plans, means they are same in structure and same in origin, but different functions are called homologous organ. From the word itself you can write the definition of homologous organs. The organs which have same structure and origin but different functions are called homologous organs. Only you have to remember that they have different functions. Now let's look at the example. These organs provide evidence for evolution by telling us that they are derived from the same ancestor. So how they will help us in evolution? Because they will give evidence for evolution by telling us that they have derived from the same ancestor, means they all have same origin, same structural plan, so they have derived from the same ancestor. For example, 4 limbs of horse and wings of bat, their structure is same. 4 limbs of horse and wings of bats are, their structure is same and origin is also same, but they are different in function. Wings of bats are used for flying, but 4 limbs of horse cannot be used for flying, right? So this was all about homologous organs. Now we'll move towards analogous organs. The organs that have means analogous. Analogous means different. Analogous means different. So they have different structure and origin, okay, but same function. The organs that have different origin and structural plan but have same function, just opposite to homologous organ, you have to write over there. They have different origin and structure but the function will be same, are called analogous organs. They provide mechanism for evolution, and the examples of analogous organs are wings of bat and wings of birds. As you know that wings of birds are different in structure, and wings of bats and birds are different in structure, but their function is same, means both use their wings to fly. So their function is same but their structure and origin is different. So this was analogous organ. Next is fossils. The study of fossil is known as what? Study of fossil is known as paleontology. This is generally asked for 1 marks question. Sometimes it is asked the study of fossil is known as what? So you will write it is known as paleontology. So this fossils will provide us paleontological evidence. So first of all we should know what are fossils. The fossils are the preserved traces of living organisms. When the living organisms will die, what will happen? If their preserved traces will be present in the environment, that are called fossils. Okay, if those organisms will be preserved in the environment, their traces, their last traces will be seen in the environment, that are called traces, that are called fossils. So these are the preserved traces of living organism. Fossil Archaeopteryx possess features of reptiles as well as birds. This suggests that birds have evolved from reptiles. Okay, one of the fossil is there, Archaeopteryx. It has the features of reptiles as well as birds. In this fossil, the features of reptiles are also present and birds are also present. So what we can know from this, that we can know that birds have evolved from the reptiles, means birds have got some features but they have developed from reptiles only. Now some of the examples of fossils are ammonite. This is the fossil of invertebrate. Troroblite, it is also invertebrate. Knignitia is a fossil of fish, and Rajasaurus is a fossil of dinosaur skull. Next, how we can determine the age of a fossil? Deeper the fossil, means deeper it is inside the ground, older it is, but it is on the top, then it is the new or the recent fossil. Deeper the fossil or older it is. So this was all about your analogous, homologous organs and the fossils. Next, our next topic is evolution by stages. Evolution takes place in stages. Okay, it will not take place from top to bottom. It will take place in stages means step by step evolution will take place. Some changes will be made over there, some changes will be made over there. After that, this changes will continue over there, these changes will continue over there. Like this, it will be taking place in stages. The first one is fitness advantage. Fitness advantage. Evolution by eyes. Okay, in this we'll read about the eyes. Evolution of complex organ is not sudden. It occurs due to minor changes in DNA. However, it takes place bit by bit over generation. For example, our eyes. Example, the eyes of different organism, if we will consider. For example, flatworms, they are having rudimentary eyes. After that, again some changes were developed in the DNA, some changes occurred in the DNA. After that, insects are having compound eyes, but the humans are having binocular eyes. So all the organisms will have different types of eyes or different types of organism. It is because of their knowledge, their preference, that which type of, means for their survival and all, these organs are also developing some of the features, and one by one they will develop some extra features, and after that they will have those types of eyes. They will adapt themselves in that situation. Next one is functional advantage. Evolution of feathers. Feathers provide insulation in cold weather, but later they might become useful for flight. Generally, previously the organisms which are there, they're having the feathers. The main function of feather, we know that feathers have different types of function in different organisms. But previously what happened, the feathers are providing warm to the organism. In cold weathers, those organisms who are living, the feathers will provide warmth to them. It is used for insulation, but after that they are useful for flight also, means the organism can use those feathers for flying. For examples, dinosaurs had feather, but they could not fly using feathers. They are not flying, but after that birds have also developed the feathers, and they are using those feathers to fly. So what we can say, that feathers are giving the functional advantage in an organism. Next one, evolution by artificial selection. Artificial means man-made. Okay, so these were made by the man. Humans have a powerful agent in modifying wild species to suit their requirement throughout ages by using artificial selection. Means humans, for their advantage, they are making some changes. So that is all called artificial selection. For example, one wild cabbage is there. It was present in the nature. From this wild cabbage, humans have made chloral, cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, red cabbage, and clalle. So many varieties are made from this wild cabbage, and this was made by man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 varieties were made from the wild cabbage. From wild cabbage, many varieties like broccoli, cauliflower, red cabbage, clalle, cabbage, and kohlrabi were obtained by artificial selection. How these varieties are made? These all are made by artificial selection. Wheat. Many varieties are obtained due to artificial selection. Now we have so many varieties of wheat. Now if the farmers want to grow wheat in their farms, when they will go to the shops, the shopkeeper will give them so many varieties of seed. Different varieties of seeds are available in the market, and they can take and grow in their field. So this is all because of artificial selection. Because of humans, this can be done. Next one is molecular phylogeny. So what is this molecular phylogeny? It is based on the idea that changes in DNA during reproduction are the basic events in evolution. What happens during reproduction? What happens? Sometimes some of the changes will occur in DNA error. During copying of DNA or DNA copying, some changes or error will occur in DNA, and this will be the basic event in evolution. This is the basis of evolution. Organisms which are more distantly related will accumulate greater difference in the DNA. So the organisms which are distinctly related will accumulate greater difference in their DNA. Those organisms which are related to each other, they will have what they will have. The DNA, the greater difference in the DNA means their differences means if the organisms are different from each other. Distantly related means if they are not related to each other, some differences are there. Some means that in there will be some differences in their DNA also. Okay, so this was all about molecular phylogeny. Next is human evolution. And this is the last topic of this chapter, human evolution. So how human evolution will occur? Excavating, time dating, fossils and determination of DNA sequences are the tools to study human evolutionary relationship. So you have to remember these words: excavating, time dating, fossils, determination of DNA sequence. These are the tools to study human evolutionary relationships. In your exercise, one question is also there related to this topic. So these are the methods by which, these are the tools by which we can study human relationships, a human evolution relationship. The first point is, although there is great diversity of human forms all over the world, yet all humans are a single species. Means in our world there are Chinese, there are in South America different types of peoples are there, North America different types of people are there, in India different types of people are there, in Africa different types of people are there. But it is that all human beings have a single species, means all of us have arrived from the same species, that is Homo sapiens. Okay, so although the skin color and the skin tone is different for different species, for the different organisms which are different races which are living all over the world, but the common species is common for all the human beings. All humans came from Africa, means all the common origin for all of us is Africa. The earliest member of the human species, Homo sapiens, can be traced there. Our genetic footprints can be traced back to our African footprints. In Africa, what happened, that our species, that Homo sapiens, can be traced over there. We all came from Africa. From Africa, all the peoples have changed their roots to different countries. So all of them have been separated over there. The residents spread across Africa. The migrants slowly spread across the planet from Africa to West Asia. Means from the Africa, the people went to West Asia, then they went to Central Asia, Eurasia, South Asia, East Asia. They traveled down the islands of Indonesia and the Philippines to Australia, and they crossed the Beijing land bridge to the Americas. So what happened? From Africa, people moved to different parts of the world. Okay, and they have spread over there. So because of environmental condition, they look different. Means their skin tone is different, their height and all, it is also different because of the environmental condition. But we all have evolved from the same species, that is Homo sapiens. They did not go in a single line. Sometimes came back to mix with each other. Okay, sometimes these people can mix with each other. This people can come to over here, these people can come over there, and after that, when they will interbreed amongst themselves, when reproduction will occur, they will exchange their features in that case. So this was all about human evolution. We have finished our chapter. I hope you all have understood. If you have any doubt, please ask me in the comment section so that I can clear your doubt. And for the part 1, that is for heredity section, I will provide you the link in the I button. You can go through that video and if it is helpful for you, then share it with your friends also. Thank you for watching my channel, Science Learning Gateway. If you like this tutorial, then please like it, share it with your friends, and if you are new to my channel, subscribe my channel. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to get the latest notification of the video. You can also connect with me through my Facebook page. The link I will give in the description box. Thank you.